Hi yogis, it's Kassandra. This 45-minute class is all about twists. So we're gonna do a lot of seated and some standing twists as well. These poses are a wonderful way to lengthen the spine, and they also help to compress and decompress the internal organs, which helps support the body's natural detoxification process. I'm not going to be using any blocks for this practice, but if you want, you can always have a block close by. Let's begin in Shavasana, lying down on our backs. If for any reason you find that having the legs straight out in front of you is uncomfortable for the lower back, you can always keep a little bit of a bend in your knees and the feet flat to the ground. So this is our first pose. We want to soften the muscles in the face, in the neck, shoulders, and all the way down into the hips and legs. Let your eyes close. And connect to your breath. So our breath will be super important in today's class. Even though some of the poses that we'll be doing will be challenging, we're going to use our breath to stay calm and focused. And start to wake up the body by wiggling fingers and toes. Keep your left leg straightened out in front of you and pull your right knee in towards your chest. You can hold on to the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Make space in the hip crease by pulling that thigh in and stretching the left leg nice and long. We'll take our first twist from here. Cross your right thigh over your body to the left. You can use your left hand to press that thigh down, and then the right arm can reach out to the side. So there is a little bit of compression in the belly here. Try not to let it affect the pace and rhythm of your breath too much. You want to maintain those long inhales and exhales through the nose, and send the breath all the way down into the lower back and the outer edge of your right hip. Take one more inhale through the nose, and then exhale, unwind, and come back to center. Let's switch sides. So right leg will extend flat to the ground, left knee will squeeze in towards the belly. Get a nice extension through your right leg, pressing into the heel. And we're going to take it over into a twist. So this time your left knee crosses over towards the right. Maybe use your right hand to lightly invite it to go down. Left arm extends out, press your left shoulder blade to the floor. Take your last inhale in the pose. And then exhale, unwind, come back to center. Let's bend both knees so our feet can be flat to the mat. We're going to set our way up into bridge pose. Relax the arms. We're going to make this about the legs only. So if you reach back, you want to be able to touch your heels with your fingertips. You might not be able to quite touch them, but you still want to have your heels close in towards the glutes. Feet are hip width distance apart. Relax the upper body. Press the feet to the floor. Start to curl tailbone up and slowly lift your hips, lower back, and then mid back off the floor. Once you're up to your full height, notice if the knees have gone a little bit wider than your hips. If so, bring them back in towards each other by engaging the inner thighs. No tension in the neck or shoulders. You're pressing firmly into the feet to lift the hips up even higher. Breathing into the belly. Super strong legs. Take another inhale. And we'll unwind inch by inch. So upper back, mid back, lower back, and hips come to the mat. Pull your knees tight in towards the belly. Give them a big squeeze and maybe rock a little side to side. We're going to come up into our tabletop pose. So grab a hold of the backs of the thighs and you can rock up and down, getting a little bit of momentum before you can cross at the ankles, plant the palms down, and step the feet back behind you. Tabletop stance, you want your palms underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips, spreading the fingertips nice and wide. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, curl tailbone up. And on the exhale, round your spine, chin to chest. 2 more rounds. Inhale, lift and look up, keep the elbows straight. And then exhale, slight contraction as you pull the navel in. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Come back into your neutral spine. Let's take thread the needle. You're going to extend your right arm up towards the sky. Pull that right shoulder back. And as you exhale, you're going to swing your right arm underneath you and lower the right shoulder and the right ear to the ground. Left hand can keep pressing into the floor, or if you'd like to go a little bit further, you can bring your left hand to rest towards your lower back or reach for the inner right thigh crease. Draw that left shoulder away from the ear. Make sure the head is relaxed so there's no tension in the neck or jaw. Find space in your twist. So if the left hand was towards the lower back, you can release and set that palm back down towards the floor. Press into the ground, lift all the way back up, re-extend your right fingertips, see if they can go a little bit higher, and then bring the right hand down. Let's switch sides. So inhale, left arm up, and then exhale, swing it under. Lower your left shoulder and your left ear down to the ground. Right hand can stay exactly where it is, or you can bring your right hand to rest towards your lower back, or reach for the inner left thigh crease. Breathe into the space you're creating in the chest and upper back. Lower belly is drawing in and up. One more deep belly breath. And let's set our right hand back down to the floor. Press and lift all the way back up. Re-extend your left fingertips to the sky. And then exhale to your tabletop pose. Firm up your belly so the core is nice and strong. Reach your left leg up and back. Keep your left hip so the knee and the toes point down. Rotate that thigh down. And once you have your balance, you can extend your right arm forward. Bicep is along the ear. Thumb is pointing up. Take an inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, round through the upper back, bring your elbow and knee together to touch. Let's do that 3 more times. So inhale, reach. And then exhale, contract. Inhale, extend. Exhale, squeeze it in. Last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, contract. And set your right hand and left knee down. Switching sides. Right leg up and back. Spin your right hip down so the knee and the toes point down. Firm up your belly so you're not letting it drop towards the floor. And then left arm reaches forward. Inhale to stretch. And then exhale, contract, elbow and knee together. 3 more from here. Lengthen on the inhale. Exhale, squeeze it in. Use your core. Inhale long. Exhale, pull it in. Reach. And squeeze it in. Last one. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow and knee together. Let's bring both hands, both knees to the floor. Coming into our first downward dog. Walk your palms a few inches past the shoulders. Curl the toes under and lift your hips up and back. You can shake out the hips, paddle the feet, pressing your chest towards your thighs, creating space, stretching the arms really, really long. Make sure you're still spreading your fingers and putting a lot more weight into your knuckles and fingertips so you can lighten the amount of body weight you're putting on your wrists and in the palms of your hands. So from this downward facing dog, you'll need to widen your stance. So bring your feet more towards the edges of your mat and walk your feet in just a couple inches. So this is a lot narrower of a stance than we would normally have in our down dog. Bend your knees generously, and we're going to lift onto our left fingertips, and you're going to reach your left hand towards the outer edge of your right leg. You might be higher up the leg. You might be able to go down towards the ankle. Once you have a hold of it, you can re-straighten the legs and open into a twist by bending the left elbow and looking underneath your right shoulder. So depending on how tight or open the hamstrings are, you might need to keep a little bit of a bend in your knees. Just focus on the quality of your breath. And let's bring our left palm back down to the floor, switching sides, so soft bend in the knees. Lift up to the right fingertips. Bring your right hand towards the outer edge of your left leg, wherever it is the most comfortable. So either up towards the shin or down towards the ankle. Once you have that hold, you can straighten the legs and twist a little deeper, bending the right elbow, looking underneath your left shoulder. The more you're able to hold and pull the lower navel or lower belly in towards the back, the easier this twist will be. Take one more breath and let's release. Both hands to the floor, walk your feet to the top of the mat. Keep them wide towards the edges of the mat and just take a forward fold. So ragdoll, maybe holding onto the elbows and swaying a little side to side, front to back. Let's release our fingertips down to the floor. Bend your knees generously and slowly roll all the way up to stand. Take your time, keep breathing. Head and shoulders are the last to make their way there. We're going to draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Palms shine forward. Standing at the top of the mat. Let's bring our big toes together. Heels are about an inch or so apart. Hands at the front of the heart, sinking down into chair pose. Bend the knees, drop the hips down low. See if you can put a lot more weight into your heels and a lot less into the balls of the feet. If you look down, you kind of want to be able to see the tips of your toes. And your chest is lifted so that you're not looking straight down, but gazing forward. Sink down a little bit more, and we're going to set up for a twist. So as you inhale, you lengthen. And on the exhale, we're going to hook our left elbow over the top of our right thigh. Press your palms together firmly as you open up the chest. Take a peek down at your knees. After doing this twist, you might notice that your left knee is further than your right. If that's the case, shift it back. Try to keep your hips lower than your heart, so really sink down into that chair pose. Remember, we're staying calm and focused, staying with the breath. Look down to help you out with balance. Lean onto your right leg. Pick up the left foot off the floor and silently, quietly step it back into your lunge. Find your twist again. Pressing the palms against each other, trying to get them to the center of your chest. Bend into the right knee. Take one more inhale, and let's drop our left knee to the floor. So low lunge with your twist. You might be able to press the hips forward and down a little bit more. Looking down towards the floor, bring your fingertips to the ground. We're going to come into our wide-legged forward fold. So curl the back toes under if not done already. Lift the left knee off the ground and walk your hands to the left side of your mat to fold. So you're hinging at the waist, bringing your feet parallel or so to the small or shorter edges of your mat and folding forward. We're going to take a twist even here. So let's walk our palms a couple inches in front of us. Bring your left hand underneath the center of your chest. Feel free to grab a block here if you'd like. Right hand on your waist. As you inhale, start to open up your chest by drawing that right shoulder back and maybe reaching your right arm up. Take another inhale, and then exhale, we'll switch sides. So right fingertips down. Bring your left hand on your waist. Start to open up the chest, drawing that left shoulder back, maybe reaching the left arm up. Bring the left palm back down to the floor. Walk your hands towards the top of the mat. We're going to take our lunge with a twist. So right toes forward, left heel off the ground. Plant the left hand to the mat. Reach your right arm up towards the sky. So it's up to you if you would like to stay here in this pose, if this is more than enough. Otherwise, we're going to come into our side plank pose by rolling to the outer edge of your left foot and stacking your right leg over the top of your left. And then you're pressing into the legs and pressing into that left hand to lift your hips up a little bit more. 3 breaths. Let's take our flow. Right hand down to the floor. Inhale to plank. Exhale, maybe chaturanga, hold halfway. Inhale, upward dog, lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. At the end of your next exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, look past your palms, step or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift once you're there, flat back. Exhale, fold. Press to stand, both arms reach up overhead, palms come together to touch. Exhale, hands at your heart. Let's go do the second side. So standing at the top of the mat, big toes together, heels apart, hands at your heart. Sink down into chair pose. Tailbone is reaching down towards the floor, so careful not to tilt the pelvis forward too much. Keep your lower belly hugging in, chest is lifted, shoulders are down and away from the ears. Taking it into a twist, hook your right elbow over your left thigh. Take a peek at your knees. This time right knee might be further forward than the left. If so, shift it back. And maybe sink your hips a little bit lower. Look down towards the floor to help with balance. Lean on your left leg and pick the right foot off the floor. Carefully step that right foot all the way back so you find your high lunge with your twist. Trying to get the palms towards the center of the heart. Lots of space for the neck. Lower your right knee down to the ground. Keep pressing your hips forward and down as you take your low lunge with a twist. Take another deep breath into the upper back. And look down towards the floor. Bring your fingertips to the ground. We're going to come into our wide-legged fold. So walk your hands towards the right side of your mat. Make sure both feet are parallel to the shorter edges of your mat, and you might need to widen or narrow your stance depending on the flexibility in the hamstrings before folding forward. Shake out the head. And let's bring our palms a little bit in front of us so we can lift our chest up about halfway. We're going to take that same twist. This time, bring your right hand towards the center of your chest, left hand on your hip. As you inhale, open up the left shoulder and maybe reach your left arm up. Only looking up if that's okay for your neck. Otherwise, you can look straight forward or down. Switching sides, left hand down. Right hand on your hip, inhale, open up, and maybe reach your right arm up too. Right hand comes back down to the mat. Let's walk our palms towards the top of the mat, coming into our lunge with a twist. Left toes point forward, right heel is off the ground. Plant the right hand down and extend your left arm up. So if this is more than enough, please hold as you are. Otherwise, we're going to come into our side plank by rolling to the outer edge of your right foot, and this time stacking your left leg over your right and lifting our hips up as high as we can. Notice if you're holding your breath or clenching the teeth. Taking our Vinyasa, left hand down. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. So from our downward facing dog, let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. Keep it straight and squared. And then carefully step your right foot forward in between the hands to the top of the mat. We're going to lift and press our back heel down to the floor at about a 45-degree angle for warrior one. Arms reaching up. Tailbone is anchoring down. Right knee is bending a little bit more as you press your hips forward and down. Take another inhale in the pose. And then let's bring our hands on our hips. You're going to straighten your right leg and bring your back foot in just a couple inches. So we're going to come from here into our Revolved Triangle, which is a very deep twist. So as you're in the pose, square your hips and shoulders to the front of the mat. Inhale to lift and lengthen up. And on the exhale, you're going to hinge forward at the waist and hold about halfway. Left fingertips are going to come down to the floor. If the floor feels a little bit too far away, you can always reach for a block. And then we're twisting from here, just like we did in our wide-legged forward fold. So you're drawing your right shoulder back, opening up the chest, and then maybe extending the right arm up towards the sky. So there's a lot going on here. Can you lengthen from the crown of your head all the way back into the tailbone? And reach the arms as long as you can, pulling the lower belly in. Take one more breath. And let's look down. Bring your right fingertips to the floor. Slide your left toes all the way back. Plant your palms to the ground. So from here, you'll need to just slide your right foot a couple inches behind your right wrist. So not all the way to the top of the mat. You're going to roll to the outer edges of both feet. So all 10 toes point to the right side of your mat. Lean on your left hand and reach your right arm up and over. Bicep is along the ear. So here, both legs can press into the floor to help your hips come up a little bit higher. Take an inhale and then exhale, right hand down. Take your flow. Inhale to plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Soften your neck. Straighten the arms. And let's go do the other side. Left leg up, straight and squared. Step it forward for warrior one. So left foot in between the palms. Right foot at a 45-degree angle. Hips and shoulders squared to the top of the mat as you lift up with the upper body and the arms. See if you can bend your left knee a little more. Strong and steady pose. Let's bring our hands on our hips. We're going to straighten the left leg and bring that back foot in just a couple inches. Setting up for Revolved Triangle on the other side. So square your hips. As you inhale, lift the chest up. And on the exhale, hinge forward at the waist. Hold when you're about halfway down. Now, right fingertips come down to the floor or to a block. Stay really long through the spine and twist from there. So lower navel, lower belly hugs in as you pull your left shoulder back to open up the chest, and then maybe the left arm reaches up towards the sky. If you're having a hard time breathing in this pose, you know you've twisted a little bit too far. Pressing into both legs and both feet evenly. Take one more breath. And then look down, lift fingertips to the floor. Let's slide that right foot all the way back. Plant your palms to the mat, and you're going to bring your left foot just a couple inches behind your left wrist. We're going to roll to the outer edges of both feet, so all 10 toes point towards the left side of your mat. Lean onto your right hand and extend your left arm up and over. Both legs are working evenly to press and lift the hips up even higher, engaging the obliques and the sides of your body. Looking down towards the floor, plant the left palm down, take your vinyasa. Inhale to plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale to up dog, and then exhale downward facing dog. From here, let's reach our right leg up towards the sky. This time, go ahead and bend that right knee and open up the hip. Squeeze the glutes to lift that knee up a little bit higher. Press your chest to your thighs. Straighten and square your right leg, and you're going to step your foot to the outer edge of your right hand. So you want both palms to end up being to the inside of that right thigh. And we're going to lower our left knee down to the floor, setting ourselves up for lizard pose. We're going to open up the thigh a little more. So see if you can pick up your right toes off the floor, and you're going to externally rotate that hip. So you're pressing your thigh, your knee, and your ankle down, rolling to the outer edge of that right foot. Some of you will maybe want to stay here. If you want to go a little further, you're going to lower down onto your forearms. We're taking 5 breaths here. Opening up the hips. Arms are there to help you become a little bit more stable in the pose, but we don't want to resist or struggle against it. You want to let gravity do most of the work for you as it pulls your hips down towards the floor. We're going to take a quad stretch from here. You can stay on your forearms if you'd like, or come back up onto the hands. We're going to reach our right hand back and catch a hold of our left foot as we pull it in towards us. So a nice twist here as we open up the chest and lean the right shoulder back. Start to look down, release the hold of your back foot. Bring your palms to the ground. Lift back up on your hands if you were down onto your forearms. Curl the back toes under, and we're going to toe heel our right foot all the way over towards the left side of our mat for Pigeon Pose. So right knee will end up being behind your right wrist, and instead of folding straight down, we're going to take a twist since that's what we're doing today. So as you inhale, lift and lengthen. And as you exhale, you're going to reach your left arm underneath you and lower the left shoulder and the left ear down to the floor. Right hand can reach towards your lower back, or maybe even grab a hold of your right foot. Take 5 to 8 slow breaths here. Drawing that right shoulder back. And if you were holding onto your foot, just bring that palm back to the ground. Press and lift yourself back up. Now, instead of going to down dog like we would normally do, you're gonna lean on your right thigh and bring your left leg forward. Right foot ends up being to the inside of that left thigh. We'll take a forward fold. So as you inhale, lift and lengthen, and then exhale, hinge at the waist and fold forward, catching a hold of whatever is accessible. Let's unwind and roll back up. Bend into both knees, and you're gonna bring your right knee underneath you and cross your left foot over the top of that right thigh. So setting up for a seated twist. Bring your left fingertips back. Inhale, right arm up. And then exhale, hook the right elbow over that left thigh. Pull your left shoulder back behind you as you open up the chest. Release and unwind. One last seated pose. This time you're going to cross your left knee and stack it directly over the top of your right. Try to keep your heels close and towards you. We're going to bend both elbows at a 90-degree angle, and you're going to swing your left arm underneath your right, binding once or twice. As you inhale, lift and lengthen, and on the exhale, hinge at the waist and fold. Use your core to come all the way back up. Let's unwrap the arms, unwrap the legs, come into boat pose, reach the arms forward, knees are bent, chest is lifted. Take one breath here, and then let's cross at the ankles, plant the palms down, step back to your downward facing dog. Feel free to hold here or we take our flow. Inhale to plank, exhale chaturanga, inhale upward dog, exhale, downward facing dog. Second side, left leg up, bend the left knee, open that hip nice and wide. Straighten and square the leg, and you're gonna step it forward to the outer edge of your left hand. We're setting ourselves up for lizard pose, so both palms are to the inside of that left leg, and you can drop your right knee to the floor. We're gonna pick up the left toes and start to press your left hip, knee, and ankle out over towards the left side of your mat. So the sole of your foot is no longer on the floor. You're rolling to the edge of that foot, either staying up on your palms or coming down onto a forearms for 5 breaths here before we go into the twist. Coming into our twisting option, you can stay on your forearms or come back up onto the hands. Lean on your right arm, left arm reaches back to catch a hold of your right foot as you pull it in. Keep the chest nice and open as you press your hips forward and down. Release the hold of your back foot, bring your left hand back where it was. Prop yourself up onto your palms, and we're gonna come into our pigeon pose. So you'll have to toe heel your left foot over towards the right side of your mat so that you can bring your left knee behind your left wrist, right leg reaches back. And we're gonna twist this one as well. So the right arm is gonna reach underneath you until you can drop your shoulder and your ear down to the floor. Left hand can stay where it is, or reach towards the lower back, or to hold on to your left foot. If you're holding onto the foot, release. Bring your left hand to the ground. Press and lift your way back up. And instead of going to down dog, you're going to swing your right leg forward. Left foot ends up being to the inside of your right thigh, coming into our fold. Inhale, arms up, lift and look up. And then exhale, hinge forward, soften into the shape. Let's release and unwind. Roll all the way back up, and we'll come into our seated twist. So you'll need to bend your right leg, cross your right foot over the top of your left thigh. Bring your right fingertips behind you. Inhale, left arm up. And then exhale, hook your left elbow to that right thigh crease and pull the right shoulder back. Staying lifted and tall. Pressing the shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhale through the nose. And exhale to unwind. Knee pile pose. Stack your right knee directly over the top of the left. Try to keep your heels in towards the glutes. We're going to bend the elbows. And so this time it's right arm underneath your left, binding once or binding twice at the wrists as well. Lift up and then exhale to hinge forward. Use your core to lift back up. And we're coming into boat pose. So unwind the arms, unwind the legs, reach everything forward and lift your chest up as high as you can. Squeeze the inner thighs. And let's cross the ankles, plant the palms, take your downward facing dog. So this is our final vinyasa and our last down dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Make the most of this last moment in the pose, reaching into the heels. Get really long through the spine. And let's drop our knees to the floor. Swing your legs out in front of you. And we're going to lower all the way to our back. So finishing off with a laying spinal twist before we come into Shavasana. Reach your arms out into a T. You're going to lift your hips and move them over towards the right. And before we drop our knees, cross your right thigh over your left and then drop the knees over to the left. So if you find that this is too much for your lower back, instead of crossing one leg over the other, you can just stack the knees like we did at the beginning of class. Keep pressing your right shoulder to the floor and take deep breaths into the lower back. Let's engage the abdominals. Just slowly lift the legs back up and uncross them. Moving to the other side. Shift your hips towards the left side of your mat. We're going to cross our left thigh over our right before letting both knees drop down. Keep pressing your left shoulder blade to the floor. Collarbones are facing up. Soften for these last 2 deep breaths. In and out through the nose. And let's engage your core so that you can lift the knees back up. And before we go into Shavasana, let's just pull the knees in towards the chest. And use your hands to pull the knees in and then lightly press them back out as you straighten the arms. Just doing this a few times. You can do it in circles too if that's more comfortable. And let's release for Shavasana. Stretch out the arms and the legs. Shrug your shoulders underneath you. Palms facing up towards the sky. And take the time to do a little bit of a body scan from the crown of your head all the way down into your fingertips and toes. Relaxing the muscles along the way. If you would like to take a longer Shavasana, you are more than welcome to stay exactly as you are. If you would like to slowly wake yourself back up, you can start breathing a little bit deeper. Feeling the chest and the belly rise. And maybe just wiggling fingers and toes or rolling the wrists and the ankles. Taking one final deep stretch by reaching the arms up overhead. And we'll bend the knees one at a time, rolling over to one side. Use arm strength to help yourself up and take a seat. Eyes can stay closed as you do this. Just stay sitting up nice and tall. Take a moment to notice how you feel now, as opposed to when you first began your practice. And we'll close with one breath together. Hands can stay on the knees or join at the front of the heart. Inhale through the nose and out the mouth. Thank you so much for doing this practice with me. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me next time. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.